So I finished up painting the Lehman Russ battle tank, and I'm really pretty happy with how that turned out. If you watch the painting video, there was a point that I had the light gray on, and I had put the German Luftwaffe uniform World War II color on, but hadn't done anything else. It just had that base color. And I didn't say this on the video, but after I got done and was looking at it, I'm like, man, that is way too purple. I thought it looked awful. But I've heard other people say this, but I remembered what my dear friend who's been gone a year, just a little over a year now, Andy Butcher, always said. To kind of paraphrase him, he would say, there's always a stage in a model where it looks like butt. And so I thought, all right, I'll trust Andy, and I'll say this is the stage where it looks like butt, because I seriously thought about painting over it and starting over. I mean, just starting from scratch, redoing the whole video and all of that, and going for more of a neutral gray. But I went on, and when I did that dry brushing, I just love the way that turned out. That technique is so simple, so approachable. Anybody can do it. There's no special skill involved. There's really no special tools. You can do it with a flat brush. You can do it with a makeup brush. You can do it with, your expensive dry brushes, whatever you got. And I think it just really just did a nice job of distressing the paint, and I think it just looks kind of cool. Maybe that's just me, but I like it. But I'm pretty happy with that. But anyway, I was going to start the weathering video, because the weathering, I'm planning on making it kind of like in an urban wasteland kind of environment where there's not a lot of brown mud like you would see if it was out operating in countryside in the field and things like that, but rather it's in a very, very large city environment with a lot of ruins. So there's going to be a lot of concrete dust, a lot of things like that. So I'm going to use a lot more cold colors to kind of go with the camo, because that's going to be kind of the reason behind the camo. It's operating in an area where that's going to be more appropriate. You wouldn't stick this out in the woods, except maybe in the winter. So I'm going to go with that. I may stick some snow on here. We'll see. I'm not sure yet. But I know I'm going to do that kind of cool tone weathering. I've never done that before, but really it's just going to be a change of colors. The way I apply the stuff, the techniques are going to be pretty much the same. It'll just be a difference in color, but we'll see how it looks. But anyway, last night, Friday night, I got home and I was going to start working on some preliminary weathering. A lot of times what I'll do is I'll shoot the video, say, on this side, but on this side I will have already done all the work just to test out, how am I going to do things. If it's not something I've done before, or if I just want to figure out the order and how some things are going to work so that it will just be more cohesive when I get to doing it on camera, I'll do it that way a lot of times. But anyway, I sat down and I was thinking, okay, I need to get to work on this. But I just happened to pick up the box for the next project, which is this guy. I think I've talked about building this. I don't remember. I may have already done a vlog exactly like this. I have trouble remembering, and I'm too lazy to go back and look at what I've already done. But this is going to be the next project, and I'm going to be building... the version I'm going to be building is this one right here with the pilot and a gunner back here like that. And kind of like an IL-2 with them back to back like that. If you're familiar with that Russian aircraft from World War II. I thought about this turret version here, and I still may swap up. The thing I never know with Warhammer vehicles is how much variation, because I always think about selling the models, and I always wonder how much variation would be allowed. And this, I don't know. Maybe Nikki, you can weigh in. But like, I started thinking, well, if I built this version here, but swapped out that gun for this gun, would that be something that would cause somebody in the that was going to play the game to go, well, I'm, that's not correct. So I can't buy this because I always have to think of, selling them. So I'm not real sure. In fact, I just noticed, I think I glued on the wrong tail piece. I guess it doesn't matter now because I just realized I'm going to build this version. I glued on the wrong vertical stabilizer. It's supposed to have the tails up there, and the horizontal stabilizer's up there, and I glued on the one for this one. No, for this one. Oh, so they go at the very top. I don't know. Maybe that make anyway. Who cares? Oh well, I may have just made my decision on camera, but I'm still not sure which version I'm going to do. I kind of like this turret, but I kind of like that version too. But the reason I picked this one is this is a bomber version, and it's got the mounting points for these big giant bombs. So, and I like the exhaust configuration. That they all have that, but I like this air scoop here. I think that one's a little too overdone, and I don't really like the pointy thing there on the end. And this one, I thought the scoop was a little understated, and this one didn't have it. So, yeah, it looks like I'm going to end up just kind of doing I may still end up doing that, but it's going to be kind of a hybrid. I guess it don't matter now, but anyway, boy, talk about a tangent. I started looking at it and I thought, well, let me just do some build planning. So I started looking at the instructions, and well, you see, this happened, and this only took maybe about 45 minutes. This thing is going together really quick. What was really fun, is really fun about this model is this is actually a really good airplane model. Yes, it's Warhammer. Yes, it's silly. Yes, it's orcs. Yes, it's completely made up. It's got exaggerated detail. But the way this is going together and the options and the fit and all of this, this is a good airplane model. And I could see the model club that I used to be in, the local one here. We used to do these group builds where like one time everybody did snow speeders, the Bandai snow speeders, but the group build was to do them in World War II colors. So you had these snow speeders that look like, RAF Desert Spitfires, or a German fighter plane in splinter camo, and somebody else did one in like just the U.S. olive drab and gray, and just it was really cool to see. So I could see. I haven't been to the model club in years and years and years. I don't even know if it's still around. But I could see, the model club saying, okay, we're going to build these, and we're going to build these like, Korean War fighters, so F-86s and MiG-15s and stuff like that. That would be kind of cool. But this is turning out to be a really, really good just airplane kit. You can build 4 different versions. They make it pretty clear. This is something else that I think airplane manufacturers could learn from Citadel. Citadel starts off showing you, okay, here's the colors. You pick the version you want, and then they tell you, okay, for the blue version, for the DACA jet, you do steps 1 and 2. For this one, you do steps 1, 3 through 5. This one is 1 through 6. This one, it's completely 7. So for all of them, you build this core here, and then you just find the one that you want. And so I went to the color that is the one that I picked, and I should have paid attention to the horizontal stabilizer. I'm hung up on that now. But because part of the reason I picked that was I thought it looks kind of like a MiG-15, which made sense to me. So I wonder. It's glued on there pretty good. Oh, well, we'll see. Maybe I'll get brave and cut it off. I don't know. But it's color coded, so it's really easy to go with. And it's going together really fast, even with all the nub cleanup. Honestly, so far the assembly has been 80% nub cleanup, mold line cleanup, and then the rest is just putting the parts together. There's very good fit of all these parts. I mean, it's just been really impressive. Even the seam lines, one of the things that always bugged me about building aircraft models, even really good fitting aircraft models like from Tamiya or Eduard or something like that, you always had that seam that ran down the fuselage. And even if the edges lined up perfectly, when you glued it, you still had to sand that down. You still had to clean that up. You couldn't just leave it, well, I mean, you could, but if you're trying to build it so that it looks all one part, you have to deal with that. And sometimes, especially Eduard, they would put such the rivet detail on their surface. Have you ever seen the rivet detail on, say, an Eduard Spitfire or something like that? It's just a thing of beauty. But the problem is, once you start sanding it to clean up those seam lines, those join lines, you lose every bit of it. And that was actually one of the reasons I liked Airfix, is they didn't have as much of that surface detail, and it was a little easier to deal with. Thankfully, this one went together really well, and I was able to just use, I didn't have to use any putty, just a couple of sanding sticks to do kind of a rough sand and then a smoother sand. And the detail is fairly exaggerated, so there's no, if you destroy one of these rivets, that's easy to restore. And they do a pretty cool job of, like right here where you got those seam lines, you just put this part right over that. These were easy to deal with. The tail was one piece. The wrong tail, John, was one piece. So there was just a mold seam cleanup. Down here on the bottom, there's going to be something that goes over this, so I don't have to worry about that. And everything else was pretty easy to clean. There's some stuff back up in there, and I may get in there with my knife. But this will be covered up by the jet nozzle. So it went together really well. And another thing that I really like, and this is something that I'm not sure why aircraft manufacturers don't do this. Now, I haven't cleaned up the nubs, so obviously there's still work to do on this. One-piece wings. I don't know why traditional aircraft manufacturers don't do that, because I've built aircraft models where, say, the leading edge would wrap around and there would be an insert that would go on the bottom so that the leading edge would be completely smooth, and you wouldn't have to worry about, cleaning up a seam line or something like that. So it's not a matter of, well, they can't get the leading edge or the trailing edge sharp enough, because I've built kits that had both the leading edge and the trailing edge built into the upper wing part, and then you just put in a lower wing part that was just kind of an insert. But I always thought, well, there's only a little more plastic, and all the detail in it is just recessed detail, the wheel wells or whatever. Why not, make the wings as one piece? I am so glad they made these wings as one piece. Now, they're big, thick wings, so it won't really matter. The trailing edge, most aircraft guys would, I can't take that. It's too much. I'm going to have to whine on a forum. And as an old aircraft modeler, I say that knowing that's exactly what would happen. But the one-piece wing, one-piece tails, one-piece horizontal stabilizers, even if it's the wrong one. It's maybe I did get the right ones. Oh, wait, I can put them there. Hey, I solved my own problem. Okay, anyway, moving on. I was just really pleased with this. If you haven't detected, I'm really enjoying this. And I think part of what I'm enjoying also, I will admit there are times that I do miss building aircraft. I was going through, if you subscribe to my blog, you probably saw that there were literally maybe 150, I don't know how many, of my old blog posts appeared in your inbox, which I apologize for. But I'm going to be shutting down my old agapemodels.com website for a variety of reasons I won't bore you with here. But I wanted to pull over a lot of the model building content from that onto my current johnbias.com blog. And so what it meant is I was going through literally hundreds of aircraft build reports, because I've built 300 aircraft since 2006. So I built a lot of aircraft. 84 of those were Spitfires. And so I was going through and I'm looking at all of these and I was thinking, man, I sure miss building aircraft. And I was thinking about that and thinking about that. And I thought, well, that's why I'm building this, because it's an aircraft. Yeah, it's a silly aircraft, but it's fun because I'll be able to apply a lot of the things that I learned with aircraft on this. So anyway, I'm rambling, but hey, that's what I do. You know that. But I'm really having fun with this. Now, my plan for the video, I'm not sure at this point, because every time I rethink it, I add episodes in my head or I take episodes away. But my plan is to make this less of a video about building this Orky-Jet and more of a video about techniques. Like, it's got these wonderful exhausts that go on the side, and they stick in here and they go in like that, and they join up with these parts here, so you've got this crazy whatever that is, because the orcs just kind of put things together from different parts. But like this part right here, and there's some other panels on it that I'll do this, but I think this would be a great video on doing rust and rusty beat up exhausts and rusty panels, and just showing a few different ways of doing rust. I've done rust videos before, but one of the things I've discovered is if I do a rust video about doing rusting for machining Krieger, when I was doing a variety of things, if I did it about machining Krieger, most Warhammer guys aren't going to look at it. Most Gunpla guys aren't going to look at it. There's a group of people who watch it and say, oh, I don't do this genre, but I can apply this. But it's weird because I've noticed if I do a similar technique that's, say, 40K focused, all of a sudden people who are into 40K go, oh, wow, I really like this video. Have you ever done anything else like this? I'm like, well, yeah, I've done several of whatever that is. Oh, I never saw that because it was what. And I get it. When I was building aircraft, I didn't look at anything else. But I thought, well, so, a lot of the techniques videos, and there's some of the technique videos that I've done in the past that I've kind of thought, oh, I wish I could do that again. I learned from how I did that video and the questions people asked, and I thought, well, there's some things I wish I could incorporate. So I'm going to make this series all about technique. There's going to be rust on the exhausts and some of the panels, because the aesthetic is the orcs build their stuff from just kind of spare parts. So it's going to be completely appropriate to have one panel that's painted, that's nice and clean and painted a certain color. I'm going to paint it that yellow color and paint it nice and clean, because Nicky said he wants to see at least one get finished. Inside joke there. But like this panel on the bottom, you could say, okay, I'm going to make this one rusty, or I'm going to make this, this panel on the upper wing rusty, or one of these lower panels, or maybe this thing here, like it's a street grate or something. I don't know. But I'm gonna show a few ways of doing rust, and do that. Then there's going to be another video that I want to. It's been a while since I've worked with oils. I'm going to use some oils on this, and I just want to show several techniques for panel lining, some of the basics, just panel lining and streaks and stuff like that, but also a way of getting, kind of a pre/post shaded look using oils, ways of using oils for filters and tinting and things like that. I see a lot of guys in the miniature painting world using oils, but as I watch them, generally, I mean, they do fine with it, but what I can generally tell is this is a fairly recent discovery for them, because a lot of times they're using them in a very, very basic way. You know, let's thin some down, let's slosh it all over a model, let's let it dry, and then let's just kind of rough clean it up. And that, you know, and that's fine. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. But if you've been in traditional modeling and you've done advanced weathering techniques, if you ever watch Martin, you know, on Night Shift, you know there's a million ways to use oils. I'm not going to show enamels. Enamels are fine. There's nothing wrong with enamels. I just prefer using oils because they blend a little better. And frankly, whenever I get enamels, because I use them so little, sometimes they'll sit on the shelf for a year or two, and I'll go to open them up, and they'll start getting all grainy and clumpy, and I'm like, I don't have time for that. But oils, they're in the tube. They work really well. So anyway, I'm going to be doing some oil work on this. I'm thinking about doing an episode that talks about getting a metallic look to a model, even if it's a different color. It'll be kind of an extension of using contrast paints. I'm not sure if I'm going to do that, because I'm trying to think out in my mind. Okay, I know how to do it. I know what I want to do. I've done it before, but how would it be useful as a video? I'm not sure if it would. I mean, because the demonstration might just be as simple as a YouTube short. I'm still not sure on that. But there's just going to be several technique videos. Like I've thought about doing one on creating heat metal effects on exhaust nozzles. So that's one of the possibilities I'm doing. Another thing that's cool about this model is it has all of these big giant bombs and rockets and missiles and all of that. So I'm thinking about doing an episode essentially about doing ordnance for a model, and I may do. It's got a little cockpit tub that goes in there. I may do another cockpit video. I just recently did a couple, so I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure that a cockpit video would be useful, but I'm thinking about that. The decal video that I've done on applying decals has gotten a lot of traction. And when I say a lot, this is, okay, sidebar, fixing to ramble here. Most videos, when I launch them, most videos in the first week are going to get between 200 and 400 views. Maybe over the course of a year, a video may get 2,000 views. For most of them, I don't get a lot of views. Not that I'm chasing views anymore, or I say I'm not. I try to make myself not do that. But you know, I'm not comparing me, and I'm not complaining. But like you watch, you go look at the stats for, say, when Night Shift, when Martin releases a new model, within like 15 minutes, he's got 2,000 views. Even guys that are closer in size to me in terms of their channel size, like, now he's gotten fairly big fairly quickly, started getting fairly big fairly quickly, and deservedly so, believe me, deservedly so. But if you watch Brushstroke Painting Guides, James Collard, he's gone well over 20,000 now. When I first discovered watching his channel, he was right at about the same size I was just a few months ago. And he's growing really fast, and his videos get thousands and thousands and thousands of views. There's sometimes I'll release a video, it gets 12 hours into the day, and it's had 67 views. And I'm okay with that. I've realized that I'm never going to be a full-time YouTuber. This is a hobby for me. Releasing videos is as much a hobby as building models. So I just learned to accept that. But the back to the point I was trying to make, the decal video that I did a couple of years back, I think it was, it's gotten, for me, some decent traffic. I want to say it's maybe like, I'm losing track of a couple of them, but 13, 15, 18,000 views, something like that. And people seem to really, really like that. So I may do another decal video, knowing that, okay, this is going to be one that if somebody types in to YouTube, Warhammer decals, then they may see that. Whereas the other one that I did, which I think was fairly comprehensive, they may say, oh, well, that's not Warhammer, so I'm not going to pay any attention to that. But this is Warhammer, so I'll pay attention to it. So I may do a decal video. I'm not sure what else I'm going to do, because honestly, I'm roughly releasing a video every 2 weeks or so, anywhere from 10 to 18 days. I think I've thought of enough stuff. I could probably be working on this model till well into the late summer, early fall if I wanted to. I don't know. I don't think I want to stretch it out that long because there's other projects I want to do. But yeah, there's going to be quite a few ideas I have of how I want to execute this and make it happen. So I'm looking forward to it. If you're an aircraft builder, and you're looking for a different kind of aircraft, this is certainly one to look at. And if you've not built 40K and you're looking for something that is very different, very good, a very good build experience, and just loads of detail. Even just here on the fuselage, look at all of the detail that there is to paint and weather and wash and chip and just all sorts of things going on there. Just fabulous for that. So I'm looking forward to that. So anyway, how long can John ramble on about nothing? Apparently, I'm looking at my timer right now. Now the editing will take this down, but right now I'm fixing to hit 29 minutes. So it is what it is. I thought, hey, let me do a quick 10-minute video, and here we are. But you already knew that. So for those of you who are still watching at this point, thank you so much. I thank everyone for being a patron, but I always appreciate the folks who watch all the way to the end. That means a lot to me. So anyway, I will continue on with this build and keep you posted on what's going on with it. And of course, get started on the weathering on this and just having fun with it. So you know what I say. If you're not having fun, you're doing it wrong. And I always mean it. And more importantly, thank you for supporting me. Thank you for supporting my family. Happy day to you, friends. Bye-bye.